Hi, I'm Liam, welcome to Book of Films. Today we're making the jump from films to video games as I discuss my favourite game of all time, Overwatch. If there's one thing everybody in the community is after, I think it has to be tanks. While the game needs more healers too, I think that tanks are often seen as the least fun to play, so I want to focus my attention on making a few concepts for tanks that I think would improve the game and open up many new comp styles. Just a note, I'm trying to be more economical with my ideas. In other words, I'm looking at taking things that are either already in the game or currently underused and making concepts out of them. I think it will make these tanks not only achievable to make, but easier than actually making a hero from scratch. You'll see what I mean as we go on. Anyways, we're going to start with Ares, a Talon Omnic who used to be a god program. Blame the Controller made a video about this character recently, and I think what they said still applies here. We're looking to make an alternative, not a replacement to Reinhardt. So Ares' primary ability is his spear, in which he lunges forward to stab enemies. His secondary fire activates his shield, which is smaller than Reinhardt's due to its circular size. The less powerful shield is made up by the fact that he can stab his spear and keep his shield up at the same time, unlike Reinhardt, who has to take his shield down to attack. What really makes this hero unique, however, is his abilities. One is called Speed Buff and the other is called Health Buff. They actively allow Ares to change his own stats on the fly, with one making him faster but weaker and the other one making him more tanky but with less speed. This means the player can actively adapt to the situation and make a push for the point with speed or hold a point with more health. It's a big risk-reward move that puts a lot of power in the player's hands, but one wrong move could get you killed. The system is also applied to his ultimate, Phalanx, which allows him to fire spears from his shoulder rockets over his shield into the enemy team. His speed and health equates to how fast the ultimate is performed and how much damage it gives. I think Ares is a simple yet smart idea for a tank that keeps control in the player's hands for a fun playtime. Our next hero is Sanjay from the Symmetra comics. He is a reserved mastermind of a player who sits in his power chair and operates from the back line of the map. His kit recycles a few things from Symmetra's old kits, like his main passive, the ability to grant 100 shield to anybody in his line of sight and slightly beyond. Like the shield generator ultimate Symmetra once had, if Sanjay's personal shield is destroyed, he loses his passive altogether. His shield is a 360-degree wall around him with openings at the top and a bottom for attacks from enemies. He can toggle on and off his shield, and when the shield is off, it will regen quicker and grant him increased movement speed to getting out of trouble quick. His primary fire is a 3-burst light cannon, and his secondary ability is a charged up shot that fires 2 waves of light that curve and meet in the middle for bonus damage. His secondary ability fires a portable shield like Symmetra 2.0 used to have, and though I think it will actually be more useful from Sanjay's tanking perspective. As for his ultimate, I'm not really sure and would love some suggestions in the comments below. If I think of anything, I'll put it in the comments below as well. Overall, he's a tank with the same protective abilities as someone like Reinhardt, but he occupies the back line pushing forward instead of the front. The next hero is Soundquake, who I've taken from the name from the opening cinematic. He's an off-tank who utilises the gravity systems in the game into his kit. He has a primary and secondary fire that mirror each other, a push and a pull gun. Both are beams that deal damage over time and push or pull an enemy away from him. Neither push or pull do it too fast, so don't expect too many environmental kills, but a good player should be able to subtly shape the game by moving enemies where he wants. His abilities are both grenades. The first is a low gravity bomb that deals splash damage and knocks anybody in the radius upwards into a low gravity bubble. This should make picking enemies off easier depending on who's in the bubble and what their abilities are. The second grenade is a high gravity grenade, which also deals splash damage and grounds anybody caught in the bubble, making them unable to jump or use any sort of movement ability for a few seconds. This would be extremely useful for someone like a Genji or a Tracer, but most importantly a Pharah. Soundquake's ultimate is Cannonball, which has him launched into the air before picking a spot to slam down into the ground with heavy force, like a Hammond ground slam or a seismic slam from Doomfist. He can also use his gravity abilities on himself to jump and pull himself and push himself around. Obviously that makes him susceptible to being fired in the air, but if you're a good player you can really utilise it well. I think gravity is such a cool concept that's already in the game, so I'd love to actually see it implemented into a hero kit. The final tank we have is Null, who I'm just calling him the leader of the Null sector as fought in the Uprising game mode. The idea here is to utilise the character models used for that game mode and create a summoner tank. He's a grimy and oily cult-like leader of the Null sector, and his main power shows his control and influence over others. His primary fire shoots hot oil from each of his arms before reloading. His secondary fire activates influence, an ability in which when he holds it he outstretches his arm and negates 60% of all incoming damage, turning the damage taken into auto-reloading and damage increase for himself for 3 seconds. It's a big risk-reward combo, but played right you can take a hit from the enemy before taking them out for good. His abilities are where the fun comes in. For his primary ability deploys a Null Trooper. They only have 100 health and deal minimal damage, but you can deploy up to 3 at a time. They offer a nice distraction as cannon fodder. His secondary spawn is a shield to drop where he chooses. It loads over a second like a Torb turret and acts like a normal shield, but it's physically made of metal, not a usual shield from a usual tank. There's a rule, however, that if there's an environmental object or wall or building close to the shield, it means it will be lower health. The closer the object or building, the lower health the shield possesses. This is to stop a full health shield being thrown straight in a doorway or a tight corridor to get those easy kills. His ultimate is the best summon of all of them, which will summon 8 of the Slicer drones to wreak havoc upon the map for 30 seconds, each having about 50 to 75 health. I think a summoner would be a really cool new type of hero who utilises systems and character models that are already in the game. Okay, I lied, I do have one more hero, and this time it's not a tank, I'm sorry, but this is Gishin, a spy sent out by the Korean Omnium of the same name as we saw in Shooting Stars. I know I'm probably mispronouncing it, but Gishin is what I'm going to stick with. Her primary is Blades of Silence that cut at enemies and move Gishin from side to side to make her hard to hit. Her secondary is Backtrack, which when held down can allow her to dash left, right, backwards or anywhere in between, just not forwards. Designed to get you out of the fight quickly, it also damages anyone you go through, so smart players will find a way to utilise going backwards in a fight. Her primary ability is Predatory, which allows her faster speed, silent footsteps and blindness from sight abilities like Widow's ult or Sombra's ability, which will keep her off the map. Her secondary ability is a little crazy, I admit, but Phase allows her to travel through walls. This can only be done through certain walls at allocated points on the map, and you'll only ever see them when you're playing as Gishin. She travels through but is temporarily seen with flashing lights on both sides, meaning she's very susceptible to damage, but if done right and at the right time, it's a game changer for flanking. Her ultimate is a similar game-changing, for Copycat allows her to turn into a holographic version of a teammate of her choice. She inhabits their skills and health for 30 seconds or until she dies and becomes her normal self again. This can be used as a suicide mission of sorts, utilising the bonus health to get some easy kills and damage, or on a more competitive level, the advantages of having 2 of one hero cannot be stated. Imagine a pro team utilising that ultimate to have 2 Reinhardts, or 2 Lucios, or 2 Mercies on the same team at the same time. So anyway, that's my concepts. Tell me if you like them, tell me if you hated them, or if you want me to elaborate more. Tell me what you think Sanjay's ultimate should be, because I'm stumped, and perhaps tell me your own concepts for tanks, because I'd love to hear them. I'll see you in the next video.